If you ever did this, something was wrong with you. If you ever did this, you have a mental problem, right? We only clapped in youth group to songs because that's what kids do. But any other physical expression, it's a little bit emotional. We'll frown on that. We don't need that here. Nobody said that, but it was clearly the unspoken message. And I remember when I was in college seeing for the first time people that were singing and raising their hands and had their eyes closed. And I remember thinking to myself, come on, open your eyes. What are you doing? I mean, I was really condemning them. This is unnecessary. You think you're better than us or whatever. But let's just be honest. The worship around the throne in Revelation, the worship described in the Bible, your body is involved. It's involved. Your body, I mean, it's true. The posture of our body does change something in our hearts. When I kneel down in my own home, in my own private time with God, this changes something in me. When I raise my hands, when I worship, it changes something in my heart. Your heart often follows your posture. Now, I'm not saying this is not going to be, body language police time. We're not going to say, who's doing this, who's doing. It's not about that. But I'm asking you, why don't you? And maybe in the privacy of your own home, own room, where nobody sees you, maybe kneel down and pray. Maybe raise your hands and sing. Nobody else is seeing you. God is. I mean, even the first time I started doing that, I felt almost really self-conscious, and I was like, hope nobody comes in and sees me. All right? But try. If you want, you might not feel at home when we have this kind of worship if you think everybody else around you is a little bit weird because they're raising their hands or they're kneeling, or let alone, let's not fall down on our faces. So just try. Because our bodies are part of our worship. When we worship Jesus, it's not just like that. All right, I guarantee you, if any of you watched this, I know this is aging me. If any of you watched Christian Watford make the shot that IU beat Kentucky years ago, I'm sure when it went in, most of you weren't, if you were there, most of you, or watching on TV, most of you weren't like, oh, that was nice. That was a nice shot. You were like, yeah. Right? Your body got into it. Yeah. Or, my daughter got married last week. The dancing was, yeah. All right, you go to a Taylor Swift concert. There's a lot of energy and body movement because we're made for that. So when we do that at an athletic event or at a wedding or at a concert, it's not bad that we have that excitement. Let that excitement be a shadow of the way you're meant to be toward God. So when we praise, when we sing, when we worship, it's an invitation to God to sit on the throne. And in the context of the culture that time, and even when John wrote in what we read earlier, I saw one seated on the throne. The king has his power when he sits on the throne. Only until he sits on the throne does he have his power. Our worship enthrones God on his throne. So when you worship, we're inviting God, sit down and now be the king of me, of my life. Because he's seated. So worship, I'll use this phrase, worship welcomes God. When we worship, we're welcoming. Again, this is an invisible world. We're welcoming the Spirit of God into this place, into my life, into your home. It's a welcome. Welcome, sit on the throne.